It's right now live, Andy Engel.
Okay, great.
Hey, Facebook people, you have a treat in store for you today. Yes, sirree, bub. We are here live at Comic Spot. That's where this Army veteran, me, gets to vet out veterans of comedy like the man in the other box over here. Andy Engel, you guys. Oh my freaking heck and gosh. You're so lucky you get to hear from him live today. He's the owner and founder of the Manhattan Comedy School. And he's in charge of development and new talent at Gotham Comedy Club. Yes, sirree. New talent, Gotham Comedy Club. Doesn't come any better than that. Welcome to Comic Spot today, Andy freaking Engel. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you for having me, Linda. Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. Talk to me. You're in New York. You're in the center of the apocalypse. Talk to me what's going on with your family, your life. Tell me what's happening
Sure.
there.
Well, I have a comedy school. So when the quarantine hit New York City, I was a little nervous at first, but then I quickly moved 4 classes that I had that were live in a studio at 36 and 8th Avenue. I moved them online to Zoom. And what I found, which is really cool, is that there was a tremendous need and desire for online classes. And not only did we move all the people, of course, that were from the New York City tri-state area that were taking our class live, but when we announced the new one, we started getting people from literally all over the country. So the school's market went from about 25 million people in the New York City tri-state area to 325 million in the United States of America. And that happened with a flick of a switch. As soon as we were on Zoom, our market expanded to 325 million people. And we have people signing up now from California, South Carolina, Florida, Massachusetts, literally all over the United States, which is really exciting because people now can connect with me. They can connect with Karen Bergery, my teacher, who's an unbelievable teacher. And we just didn't do this before quarantine. My wife was telling me, she says, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I ignored her. And when I was forced to do it, I realized how powerful it is and important it is, because the class now is more than just a great fun class. What it is now is people are learning to be funny. They are making others laugh. They're laughing. That's number one, because it's a comedy class, how to do stand-up. In addition to that, they are meeting 20 new friends and connecting with these people and genuinely developing relationships with them because it's safe, because they're doing it on Zoom. It's a wonderful opportunity to meet people without having to go to a bar or restaurant and risk your life, literally. And the third thing is it's therapy. Everybody is going through this intense, insane period, which nobody really knows how to navigate totally. And it's functioning as a therapeutic therapy type of class with a lot of comedy and funny laughs thrown in. So it's laughs, it's meeting people, and it's therapy. So I think that's a really powerful point to get across to your listeners and the people that are watching us now.
I used to have to take the train to New York City. I've lived there twice. I've even brought people to your shows before. I'm outside tonight. But how do I told you I want to sign up for your classes. Let's say people watching, I like this Andy Engel guy. I trust him. I want to sign up. How do they do that?
Go to my website. Go to manhattanComedySchool.com. I'll say it again. It's all one word. manhattanComedySchool.com. And there's a contact us page there. Okay. Tomorrow night at 6:30, I'm doing a 1.5-hour Zoom talk with my stand-up comedy beginner teacher, Karen Bergery, who's an amazing teacher. She's a national headliner. She's done a show with Jim Gaffigan. She's been on Jim Gaffigan's show twice because she's friends with Jim and Jeannie. She has been on The View. She's been played the Kennedy Center. She's also a 2-time published novelist. Forget the shameless plug on her, but she really is damn good. And I'm really proud of her. And I have hundreds of students that swear by her. So we're doing a talk tomorrow from 6:30 to 8. I'm going to talk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Karen will talk for the same amount of time. Then we'll do a Q&A. So if you have any interest at all in taking our class, of course, we'd love you to sign up right away. But if you want to raise your comfort level and learn specifics from me, learn specifics from Karen, absolutely come to our Zoom meeting tomorrow. And if you want to get the link, you can go to our website, manhattanComedySchool.com. If you can't find it there, just go to my website and tell me to send you the link. Go to the Contact Us page on the Manhattan Comedy School website, and I'm happy to send you the link. And it's a really educational, fun hour and a half with a lot of questions. People like Q&As.
That's perfect. I'd like to go to your personal life just a little, because people need to know, like, and trust you. That's the purpose of questions. I want all my people to love all the people that come on. So to take off your mask, so to speak, and not be on stage, so to speak. Where'd you grow up? I grew up in
New York City. I'm a hardcore New York City boy. I never learned how to drive a car. Okay.
Wow.
But I did get my New York City tour guide license. I did work on the New York City Marathon from 1970, the very first one, until 2006. I was the longest serving volunteer on the New York City Marathon, and they wrote an article about me in the running magazine. So that's my big volunteer work, New York City Marathon, for literally 36 years. Longest serving volunteer, if you want to know a little bit about me. I also, for 20 years, single-handedly raised $10,000 every single year with a crew of 20 comedians for the New York City Halloween Parade, which I'm real proud of. I got hired as a volunteer, a paid volunteer. She's paid, not a volunteer. I got hired in 1986 to work with a crew of 20 people raising money for the parade. The following year, not a single person came back except for me. They said, Andy, please take it over. And they dumped it in my lap, and I hired 20 comedians. And for the next 20 years, I would get my crew together, and we'd go up before the Halloween parade, and we'd raise literally about $8,000 to $10,000 every single year. And I'm proud of the fact that I was one of the reasons the parade survived all these years, and it's an amazing parade.
Wonderful.
Trying to get, and as a New York City tour guide, I gave tours to people all over the world, all over the United States, every southern state, many countries from Europe.
That's like being a road comic, but not being on the road.
Yeah, I met people from almost every single state. I gave the tour to the NBA draft picks for 2 years in a row. The first year, I was all excited because I thought every single draft pick was going to show up that first year, and only 2 showed up, and they were just a few inches taller than me, and I was judging people in an incredibly, naive, stupid, ignorant way just by their physical height, and because they were NBA players. And the following year, 3 7-footers took my tour. One of them was Dikembe Mutombo, if anybody knows basketball, and the other one was Luke Longley, and he was Michael Jordan's center for 3 years. The 3 championship years, the final 3 years of Jordan's championships with the Bulls. So that was kind of fun being a tour guide. And trying to tell what else about me. I've been married for 18 years to a wonderful woman who's from Poland.
What?
And she's, her name is Magdalena, and she's very, very smart and very tough. We have a beautiful daughter, 11-year-old daughter named Avery.
Oh, beautiful.
Is super smart and got into a public school in the city where she had to take a test to get in. She beat out 600 other kids, which I'm real proud of.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, real proud of her. And sometimes when I have trouble with social media, she comes over and takes over for me at the age of 11.
That's all it takes is one 11-year-old.
She's in her element. It's in her DNA. It's very easy for her to navigate, and it's very hard for her daddy. Her daddy's very old school.
Me too. So when were you first funny? And tell me about your on-stage comedy life.
I did stand up about 30 years ago, and I started it. And some of the people I started out with, I did gigs with Dave Attell, Greg Giraldo, and I was getting paid work the first year in. And I just wasn't smart enough and focused and disciplined enough to understand that I was genuinely funny and that I should have simply worked harder and gotten more, what's the word for it? Just worked harder and been more disciplined about it. but I was distracted because I was making money producing comedy shows and producing night parties at nightclubs. And I was making good money doing that. And I got distracted by that. And I deeply regret that. Deeply regret not performing now because I
Wow.
put people on all the time. You know,
Yes.
I'm proud of my school. I help a lot of people. You can read the testimonials on the website. They're pretty powerful.
Oh, I know people. I know a lot of New York people that stand by Andy Engel, you guys. His reputation does precede him.
Um, and I'm proud of my school. I've helped a lot of people. I didn't plan it that way. I wish I was still performing. Maybe one day I will, because it's something I think that's very much in my blood and in my DNA. And again, now I have a family. People come up to me sometimes and say, why don't you just start, Andy? Just go back on stage. Why don't you just do it? Just do it. I said, I can't just do it. I have a wife and a kid. I've got a family to support. I can't just jump into it right now. And not only that, I'm not scared of not being funny. Again, I was getting paid work, small jobs after the first year or two, which is pretty fast. But I can't go on stage in front of 20 potential students right now and have a bad set and maintain my business. So that's why I can't just do it, as much as I'd love to just do it, you know? And I did do impersonations professionally on the radio in 97, 98. I do a very good Marv Albert impersonation. And for those
I
of you
want to
listeners,
hear that.
for those of you listeners who know Marv Albert, for me, that was a wonderful thing when he had all his sexual issues and problems. The worst day for me in the world was when he got therapy and started working on his issues. Because when he had his issues, I had a career for a good year and a half. Literally, I did every single radio station in New York City, every major station in the country, every major station in New York City, Z100, WNEW, KTU, Rick Dees in Los Angeles. I don't know the names of all the other big stations I did in Chicago, you know, the South, all over the place. I did literally dozens and dozens of stations when all those issues were coming out. So unfortunately, he got therapy. The worst day of my life, you know?
So I have a question for you that some listeners probably are wondering. If you're in charge of new talent at Gotham Comedy Club, what are some things you don't want to see when people send you clips or electronic packages? What are you looking for these days at Gotham when everything reopens? And what don't you want to hear? What is a pet peeve?
I certainly don't want to get a phone call or a text. I can't stand texts. I don't understand that concept. You know, when I'm jogging, for somebody to text me, unless it's my wife and it's an emergency, or you know, my business, unless it's I don't want to ever get a text from anybody. If you want to communicate with me, email me. I'm old school. Just email me. I have people that help me with my Facebook and my Instagram, but I don't check that often. So please don't communicate with me through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or, you know, LinkedIn or any one of those news. It's all, to me, it's an email. Send me a link by email, send me a request by email. And that is definitely my preferred way of receiving information from people.
What's the funniest or stupidest thing anybody ever sent you hoping to be new talent at Gotham?
The stupidest or the funniest?
Yeah, one or the other. Like, how stupid are people and what do we need to know? Because every club has certain things they're looking for, but you've got to have war stories from all the people trying to suck up to you to get on stage.
You know, I want to help somebody if they're funny. I want to help somebody if they're trying hard and they're kind of funny. You know, just be honest. I used to be happy to shake people's hands at the club, you know, when they'd find me there. Now I'm happy to give an elbow, if that makes sense, only because of the state we're in now, you know. But I was very happy to shake somebody's hand in the past. I think that's important to say that. Take their video or take their number, you know, I invite them to do a new talent show. And I am looking, Chris Mazzilli, the owner of Gotham's looking, everybody's looking for somebody who's funny and original. So, you know, if you are genuinely funny and genuinely have an original take, original persona, a great style, a great way of speaking that's just naturally funny, you've developed it or honed it, you've got great bits and great material specifically, then I'm eager to see you. I'm eager to help you. and I do help a lot of people. When you go to my website, Manhattan Comedy School, it's more than just a school website. On that website, I have a section on the left that says perform. The performance section of the website is all about doing my new talent show. And it lists people that have done it and thanked me. So that's the section you want to look at. If you don't want to take a class and you're beyond that, go to the perform section on my on the Manhattan Comedy School page, and that will give you information about performing on my show, and it will give you raise your comfort level as to all the people I've helped over the years.
All my New York friends have gone through your school and rave about it. I mean, if I go to Gotham to watch a show when I'm in town, they'll take me down and show me all the rooms they've been in. I mean, it becomes a thing. When you're hooked to Andy Engel or Gotham Comedy Club, you really feel like you've been melded into the group. You don't feel like you just paid money, went to a class, went on stage, and good luck. You feel like you're part of a community.
I appreciate that, Linda. I regret not performing, but I do enjoy helping a lot of people, and I've helped a lot of people over the years. I mean, the people who started out on my new talent show, and I'm not taking credit for their career at all. I'm just saying they did my new talent show, and they got a tape. And for some of them, the tape was very, very crucial. I won't even list who, but Jim Gaffigan, Greg Giraldo, Jessica Curson, Ed Helms, Dimitri Martin, Lisa Lampanelli, Kevin Hart. All those people did my new talent show. Forgive me, I'm not 100% sure on Kevin. I know he did Caroline's when I was there, and I'm about 98% sure he did my show. Everybody else, I'm 100% sure that I just listed. Kevin, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that he did my show. But everybody else I listed, I'm 1,000% sure they did my new talent show. I distinctly remember things about booking them, what they were like, et cetera, you know.
That's amazing. What a legacy you have. Helping people is the biggest legacy I think you can have.
I'm proud of that. It kind of makes up for me not performing, you know. And let me just say, I don't think that, I would have been famous or I would have been so wildly successful. I think I would have been a working comic, just a working comic, a road comic, somebody that was supporting himself doing stand-up. Of course, now having a school and talking to you, I'm realizing, well, it's kind of nice having another source of income that's not reliant on performing based on what's happening today. And I don't say that, I'm not gloating about that. I'm not happy about that. I want New York City and the rest of the country to come back really, really fast for a whole lot of reasons, but my classes are all online now, and I'm fortunate and lucky to have that. And I realize a lot of people don't. A lot of people have lost people. I lost a comic friend that was a good friend of mine. Devastating was Vic Henley. Vic Henley used to host my shows for about 15 years when I was at Caroline's, and then when I went to Gotham. And he was an amazing, wonderful person in comic. And, you know, losing him was really hard. So I know a lot of people have lost people. A lot of people have lost jobs. So I'm very sympathetic and empathetic to that. And that's why I hope things change very, very quickly in a good way for everybody. And to me, that means, you know, just beating this virus fast and getting everybody back to work.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a favor to ask of you.
Sure.
You have a lot of students, and I would love to have any of your students on here, even if they've done comedy one time, and over time track their career.
Okay.
I take people first day in comedy all the way to A-listers. I don't care who they are. I see that comedy is essential and we need to keep our voice out there. And I want everybody to get to know comics. I really do.
Okay. So you want me to give you some names of some up and comers that I like that can do your show?
Yes. Anybody, first time on stage, 50 years in the business, they can contact me. You can tell them I'm a lot of fun. I'm professional, whatever you want to do, however you want to get it.
Sure. Linda, forgive me, but can you just tell me some of the names that have done your show that I might know? I haven't seen your show. Forgive me.
That's okay. No problem at all. The people that have gone through the Manhattan Comedy School at Gotham with Andy Engel are Helene Witt, Esther Forrester, Robin Siegel Lakin. I know I'm one of Gladys
Oh, so these
Simon's.
people have done your show, you're saying? Or you
Oh,
know them?
oh, do you want to know who's done my show or been on your
Right.
class?
No, done your show. Done your show.
Okay. Brad Trackman, DC Benny, Sinbad, Kathy Ladman, Wendy Liebman.
That's awesome. Let me just say, DC Benny is one of my teachers. He
I
just
love it.
finished teaching a storytelling class. He's an amazing, unbelievable guy.
He is
I should say, yeah.
I was barking down in Greenwich Village, Andy, just barking next to Pete Burdett. That's humbling. And I was out there in the cold, and a limo pulled up, and out came Ryan Reese and DC Benny.
Ryan hosts all my shows. Yeah.
And they're so different in their personalities. And the DC kept talking to me for like 15 minutes. The guy can just, and I'm a fan ever since he was nice to me on the street and just talked to me.
He's an incredibly talented comic. He's an incredibly talented storyteller, and he's even better person. He's a really decent guy, and the students that have taken his class love him. I feel really lucky to have him as a teacher, because when I started the storytelling class about, I don't know, 6 months ago or 9 months ago, I knew I wanted to do storytelling because a lot of people were asking for it. And I knew what his background and history was. And I was just I felt very fortunate, very lucky to get him as my teacher, you know, and I'm really grateful for that. And he's taught already, like, I think 3 or 4 classes with me, and they've all been sold out. Basically.
He's a magnificent storyteller.
Yeah.
I watch and watch and watch. I still haven't broken down what he's doing. It's so good. And that's what I want when I go to watch somebody good. I don't want to figure it out right away.
Right. Well, I'll tell you something about him. I've seen a lot of comedy over the last third of my life. I mean, I've seen Sam Kinison live. I'm talking people I've seen live. Sam Kinison, George Carlin, Jerry Seinfeld multiple times. These people who did my show, Jerry Seinfeld, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Louis Black, Dennis Leary, and on and on and on. The most amazing show I've ever seen, most amazing, was a storytelling show. I think DC produced it. It had DC Benny, Jeff Garlin, Colin Quinn, Vic Henley, Keith Robinson, and they were all telling stories. And as you know, when you're doing stories, you don't have to get a laugh every 20, 30 seconds. But these guys are incredibly confident and incredibly powerful comics. So when they're telling a story and there's no laugh, there's no issue for them. And I think it adds something to the story. They don't need a laugh every 20, 30 seconds to tell a beautiful, amazing story. And watching those guys was probably the most amazing show I ever saw. And it was a storytelling show with DC in it. Still remember that.
Wow. You've been a delight. Thank you so much for your time to come on here. And I hope that the rest of this whole blows like you do very quickly and safely. All my best to your family and friends. And send me anybody that wants to be interviewed. Sure.
And once again, if anybody wants to contact me, please go to my website, manhattanComedySchool.com. manhattanComedySchool.com. Go to the contact page. I have a free event tomorrow you should absolutely come to if you're thinking of getting started in stand-up. Happy to help you with that. Happy to help you. And Linda, really, really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. It's a really nice experience. Thanks for being patient with me.
Oh, heck yes. Thank you so much, Andy Engel.
Okay, stay well. I'll sign off. I assume we're signing off, right?
Yes. Thank you so much. Bye. I love you lots.
Bye. Thank you.
Everybody's talking.